Hello, future professionals. Welcome to day 6 of our top 100 coding question analysis. Today, we have been challenged with the question to find whether the given input is a palindrome or not. Before we solve this question, we must know what a palindrome means. It can be best explained with examples. We shall use 5 examples to understand this concept in detail. First example would be the word mom. This is the input that is given by the user. Now let's reverse the word. I take M, which is the last letter, and put it at the first place. Then O follows next. Then the first letter comes at the last. If the words after reversing stays the same, we call this as a palindrome. Now let's see another example. We shall reverse the letters such that the last one comes first and the first one goes last. Now we see that after reversing the words, both the input as well as the output stays the same. So this becomes a palindrome. Now let's look at a word which is not a palindrome. Now let's reverse the letters. Clearly, this word is not equal to the output. So this is not a palindrome. So now let's look two examples of numbers. Let's take 101 and reverse this number. We see that the input is equal to the reverse of the input, so this becomes a palindrome. Let's now look at the last example, that is 102. Let's reverse this number. We get 201, which is clearly not equal, so this is not a palindrome. Now that we have clearly understood what is a palindrome, let's now look at the logic to find whether the given input is a palindrome or not. The logic to find whether the input is a palindrome or not is as follows. First, we must find the length of the string that the user has given or inputted. Next, we have to initialize a count variable, which is significantly important as it helps us to conclude whether the string is palindrome or not when we cross-verify it with the length. Next, we have to create a for loop to iterate through the input string and use forward and reverse indexing to check whether they match. If all the checks for the match is satisfied, then we conclude that the input is a palindrome, else not. Now that we have understood what is a palindrome and the logic to find whether a given input is palindrome, it's time to code. Let's start by defining a function to get user's input. I name the function getUserInput. Let's initialize the variable message to store the value that the user inputs. Let's now return message. Next, we shall define a function to find whether the given string is a palindrome or not. I name the function findPalindrome. it gets the parameter as message. We shall initialize the variable length to the length of the message. We use len method to find the length of the message. Next, we initialize a variable count to 0. Next, we shall create a for loop from the range 0 to length of the message. Next, we find whether the character stored from the start to the end matches or not using forward and reverse indexing. If they match, then we increment the value of count by 1. Else, we assign the value of 0 to count. We shall return the value of count. Next, we shall define a function to print the results. I name the function print result. It gets two parameters. One is palindrome, which is a boolean data type. Next is the message itself, which is string data type. I check the condition. If it is a palindrome, then we print that the given message is a palindrome. Else, we print the given input is not a palindrome. Now that we have defined all the required functions, it's time that we call those functions. Now we shall call the getUserInput function and store the return value in the message variable. Let us call the findPalindrome method. But wait, we can improvise the code by returning a boolean value from the findPalindrome method. Let's equate and check whether count is equal to length. This returns a boolean value. Let's now call the findPalindrome method and pass message as the argument. Now we shall call the function printResult and pass two arguments, that is, the result of the findPalindrome method and the message itself. Let us check the code once again if there is any warning signals. We have no warning signals, so let's execute the program. Let's now enter mom as the input. It says the input mom is a palindrome. Next, we shall check for the input dad. It gives input dad is a palindrome. Next, we shall run it for the input rock. It says the input rock is not a palindrome. Next, we shall check for numbers. Let me enter 101. It gives me the output, the input 101 is a palindrome. Let's run it for 102. It says the input 102 is not a palindrome. Let me challenge you with a question. Let me enter same input, that is mom, but now the program says that the input mom is not a palindrome. If you know what has gone wrong and the solution to it, kindly comment down in the comment section. We have successfully completed our program. I hope that you have got the best out of this video. I recommend you subscribing our channel to get more such interesting videos.